Hello, welcome. Before we begin with the official content of today's video, I just want to remind you that you are loved, you are cherished, you are guided from above, and in the end, it's all about learning and growing, and everything is going to be okay. So, in today's video, we are going to talk about being a bad person, and I'm just going to share with you some of my insights and some of my own auspicious reflections as of late on spirituality and the soul. And I am now calling in any and all available angels to help oversee the creation of this video, such that all the technologies and our battery life and just all aspects of this creation may flow as well as they possibly can during this Mercury retrograde. Easy breezy. So we got a great question, and the question is, how do we reconcile with notions of whether we ourselves are good or bad? Oh my gosh, this impacted me when I saw this question. And the first thing that you need to know is that you are not bad. You are not bad. No one is bad at their core. We are beings of love, and we are doing our best. And to me, I love on earth that there are a million bajillion zillion pathways to God. Like, there are so many amazing ways to find God, and some people find God through religion, and some people find God through meditation, and some people find God through art, and some people find God through dance. But there are some ways of finding God. There are some teachings that teach us that we are bad, or that at our core that we are bad. And some of us internalize these teachings. Some of us receive this messaging, you know, sometimes we're told directly, like by our parents when we're little, like, you're a bad boy, you're a bad girl, or bad dog, or like we just hear bad, like judgments of bad, or we're told in church. I was, and I know, I chose my parents, I chose my upbringing, like as a soul, and I never believed it. But that didn't change the fact that at least twice, if not 3 times a week, I was told by an authority figure, you are sinful, you are bad, and you don't really deserve to be alive except for the fact that you were saved. Like, in this kind of stuff. And it just never, to me, you asked me, right, for the question today, to me, I do not believe that you are bad. Now, what is the greater essence of the question, though? You said, how do we reconcile with notions of whether we are good or bad? So to me, like, if you're starting to feel like, am I bad? It might be time to start living in alignment with your values more. So often it's just a pause and a reflection. And it's about kind of asking, am I the person that I want to be? So this starts with first defining one's values. What do you value? What qualities and characteristics? Is it honesty? Is it integrity? Is it kindness? You know, what are the qualities and characteristics that you wish to be? And these can be sort of like big picture alignments of the soul, or it can be more so like, it can be all of the above. It can be asking, what does it mean to me to live a good life, or a healthy life, or to have a meaningful life? The more you align your actions, your thoughts, your words with your values and what you feel is meaningful, and your aims and your goals, the more you will feel like a good person. Does that make sense? So feeling good tends to come from aligning our actions with our values and what we find meaning in and what we believe to be good. That is one way. I know this question is deeper than that, but just to say, I think if you're starting to think, like if somebody's thinking, I'm bad, I'm bad, I'm bad, either it's because you're not bad. It's either you're being told, so it's where am I receiving the message that I'm bad or I'm not enough, and maybe identifying that and maybe just trying to step away from that or question that messaging. Or is it coming from within, and are you telling yourself, hey, you're bad? And if you are, why? Like, when is that coming up? Because it's probably that you're acting out of alignment with what you want to be or what you value in some way. And usually when that happens, it means that we need to slow down. Because typically, like if we're acting in ways that we don't prefer, it's usually because we're under some kind of stress, and we're not responding, we're reacting from fear or from stress. And this goes to the core of what I wanted to talk about today, which is our biology. So I feel like I've been maybe talking about it too much recently. I've been talking a lot about my allergic condition. It's possible that I may be the only person in the Western world that has this condition. So it's like, it does like shape my life like a lot. But the reason I want to bring it up today is because I experience a lot of allergic reactions, and what happens in the body is, like during an allergic reaction, a lot of stress chemicals are released and a lot of adrenaline, and it dramatically changes my behavior. So like if I have an allergic reaction, I accidentally breathe something in. This can happen to me even with, recently, like I was traveling with my mom and I accidentally breathed in a little bit of hairspray, and it happened to me. And suddenly, like I can go from being a nice person, an understanding person, to being really quite irritable. Possibly, I wouldn't say I'm mean, but I would say I feel mean. And I will say immediately my thoughts become more judgmental and I become just a different person. And so I feel a lot of like what we feel is bad about us, like is tied to our biology. So our soul is love. You are good. Who you are is your soul. We come into these physical bodies, and this is my Joyce sense, okay? So take it or leave it, but our bodies belong to the earth. You know, to me, there's an animalistic part of the body, and the brain is not part of the soul. The brain is a part of the body. Our body is programmed for survival. And a lot of the aspects of us that we feel are bad are tied to our biology, not our beingness, okay? I'm just thinking like all across like the animal kingdom and like the human kingdom, most mothers will kill. Are they all bad? Are they all evil? No. Under what circumstances will they kill? Someone's trying to hurt their baby. They will murder to protect their own child. Are they bad? Are they evil? I mean, these are some big philosophical questions, but I would say no. So like our bodies are programmed for survival. So that is survival at all costs. So like if a person is starving, they might steal or harm another to get food. And it's that, to me, it's the biology driving them. And so we do have like we kind of step into like this animal part in order to experience life on earth. And a lot of those like drives, to me that seem bad or seem shadow or seem evil are tied to the biology. I don't recommend identifying with those parts as you. Perhaps part of your experience or the expression of your identity in this life, but it's not core to who you are. So I just feel a lot of it is like nobody's born, well, This is really a complex issue. There are people, but again, they are not bad, and their true beingness is not bad, but you can be born like into a physical body that has differences in the amygdala. For example, there do exist incarnations where the individual is experiencing themselves as a sociopath, they're a psychopath, or things like that. Fundamentally, it is my sense that being is not bad. It is also my sense that most of us experience incarnations like that from time to time. However, the person who asked this question is not experiencing an incarnation like that, almost definitely. Because those who are not reflecting on if they are bad. So to me, this is kind of about like standing as the observer of our experience. Let me read the rest of the question so you know why I'm saying this. How do we work through self-judgment and personal failings? Recognizing where we're judging ourselves, what we're judging ourselves for, and then in future situations that are similar, making a different choice. So there's kind of multiple ways to self-judgment. So sometimes, right, it really is, we feel bad about something that happened because we didn't show up as our best. That's perfectly okay. Things happen, and again, I do tie a lot of it back to our biology. Maybe you didn't sleep well for a long time. Maybe you were under external stresses. Try it again. Do better next time. Like, that'll help. Everyone judges themselves. It is my experience. So now, like, I've been working as a professional psychic for 10 years, and people come to me, and I've seen all kinds of different lives, and everyone struggles with self-judgment. Everyone struggles with feelings of failure, no matter how successful they look on the outside. We all face challenges in lives. So this person said, do I recommend reforming yourself? I recommend refining, yes, like reforming, yes, but it doesn't have to be like, excuse me, it doesn't have to be like a dramatic overhaul. You know, for example, like if you said, if you feel like, this is usually when I feel bad about myself, it's because I feel like I'm not being loving enough to others, or like I'm saying something and it's mean. I always think that, like whenever I have to deliver a message from the spirit world and it's not just pure love and reassurance, like it's any recommendation for any change, I always feel bad. And so usually like I feel like a bad person in situations like that, particularly if it was unwanted or unasked for, like with a friend or something like that. But anyway, like no matter what it is for you, I think just admitting like, okay, I acted in a way that isn't representative of what I feel is my highest character, and then making minor changes. Like, but all of this really requires slowing down. To me, that's because it's like, you've got to first of all recognize when you're in a situation where you would have behaved in a way that you don't prefer. You slow down and make a conscious choice that's different. But if you don't know who you want to be, and you don't have a vision for your life and what it means to you to express yourself in the way that feels most meaningful and aligned for you, then you won't know how to adapt. But that's what I recommend. And I think especially for souls who prefer different forms of incarnation besides this one, or who find themselves at home in higher vibrational realities, finding oneself in a physical body that is programmed for personal survival at all costs, and I feel the physical body is relatively selfish. The physical body is selfish. We as beings are not, but of course, like we're not going to survive unless we're putting ourselves first and taking care of our needs. And then there's like a lot, like in marketing especially. I'm here in the United States, so I think it varies by country, but like I do feel popular culture brings out the worst in us, and that's on purpose. Companies are trying to bring us to stress, trying to bring us to fear over and over again. in order basically to direct our buying habits. They're trying to show us and tell us, you are not enough, you are flawed in this way, you are in danger in this way, buy this, believe this. There's a lot of like manipulation that comes from the outside that can affect our sense of self and cause self-doubt and things. So I said I was going to do 2 things in today's video. By the way, today's video is based on a poll, and you said you wanted me to talk about this and some personal things. So we're at about halftime, so I think I'm going to move on to the other topics now. But some of these themes about am I good, am I bad, are interwoven into what I want to share. But just to say, there are shadow elements, especially tied to our biology and societal conditioning, like where we may feel we need to be better, or we may think unkind things about others, or we may act in ways to try to make ourselves feel more safe or secure, or ensure our own survival, that feel like a bit shadowy. And I think just like recognizing that and recognizing that impulse is key, and recognizing that it comes up and observing it, and where possible, like making a different choice. That I think is good. But in terms of like the whole idea of like, I am this shadow element and like I am the darkness, and some of these things that people, like, you do you. I mean, like, we're all here having our own experience, and all experiences are valid. But for me, I think an over-identification with those aspects is not especially good. To be aware of how they're influencing you and to observe and respond differently, to me, that's key. Okay, so now shifting into some things I wanted to just share with you all today. So one is really, there's a free webinar if you made it to this point in the video that I attended in the past. It's called Healing Through the Birth Chart, and it's from one of my favorite ancient astrologers who calls himself Merlin. I think his real name is Matthew McKinney. Free webinar called Healing Through the Birth Chart on Wednesday at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. I'm going to put a link in case you want to register. I might attend it again myself. It was good the first time around. It was like an hour, super valuable, free. And that's what I wanted to share with you today, is that Mercury retrograde is a time where redoing is highly auspicious. And we pretty much have to like redo most things anyway. And I think for me personally, that's been really rich, like over the past couple of weeks, or past couple of days, is just this idea of just redoing. Like I probably spend, like when Mercury's direct, often to set up a reading or schedule a reading or a coaching call with a client, it can be like 10 minutes. Like, hey, I want this, Maya Joy. Awesome, great. Here's your invoice. Like, here's when you'll get it. Let's go. You know, it's like very, very straightforward. I probably spent like 3 or 4 hours trying to just help someone select a service. Like the day before yesterday, processing the invoice, just back and forth. There was a lot of confusion. And then like the next day, we had to redo it all over again because they actually selected something else instead. And we're still just like midway through the process. And to me, that's Mercury retrograde. So I think if we just expect, like, and you can kind of feel it, like when you're doing something and you know that you probably are going to need to redo it. Like I think most of the things that we do during Mercury retrograde, we have to redo them in some way. Even if it's just like a very small thing. Like you might fill out a paperwork, you submit it, and you're like, whew, good, that's done. And then you get it back and they're like, what was this point right here? Oh, can you fill it out again? So just like for me, just like anticipating, now not absolutely everything has to be redone, but a lot does. I even think like, I felt like I like won the Mercury retrograde lottery because like the second or third day of Mercury retrograde, I was able to get like one of my foods at the store, and like right now I'm limited to 1, 2, 3, 4, only 5 things that are safe for me to eat that I can get in the local area. because supply to a few of them have been lost. So I found one in abundance and I bought all of it, and I thought, oh my gosh, it's a Mercury retrograde miracle. I got it home and I opened up one of the bags and it was rotten inside. So I still haven't redone it. But yeah, like I called the company and they're like, oh, we'll have to do a redo. I guess the supply was like sullied. Here's a credit and you can reorder and then we'll comp you and here's a gift card. But like in the end, I'll have to just redo the whole thing anyway. And that's Mercury retrograde. So I think just like kind of laughing like when redos happen. Like that's just something I wanted to share with you. I listened to an NDE account this week that I thought was very valuable in the way that it described fate and free will, and very accurate. So this person said that when they were in the spirit world, that they were shown their life as like, I want you to think of like a hotel hallway. Most of us have stayed in a hotel. So like you get off the elevator and there's like a main hallway and then there's like rooms, each of the hotel rooms. And they described our fate in life as being like the main hallway. And then like there's pre-planned like free will choices that are like rooms off the hallway. So like I felt this was really valuable and one good way if you're a visual person to imagine fate and free will, because it's like you can either walk straight down the hallway, you know, and you can exit. And that's just like you just live your fate, you know what I mean? Or you can like explore rooms, but there's no way to get out of the hotel through any of those rooms. So like those are free will choices, like, hey, you want to step in that room, spend a little time, that's fine. But ultimately you're going to have to go back to the hallway, like to get out of the hotel. And that hallway again is like our fate. And then there's some, like, I mean, total randomness, I don't really think is really a thing. Like I think a lot of what we experience as like free will choices are potential pathways that we had thought we might explore, but we were unsure. And then it's like, okay, I decided to do that. But everything like leads back to the main path, if that makes sense. Like hopefully this is helpful. In the moment when I heard it, I was like, that might be helpful, like for my audience to understand. In human design, in each of our charts, there's what's called a not self theme, okay? I have found like if you want to work, for example, this week with just one aspect of your human design, it's very beneficial to recognize when you're experiencing your not self theme and then redirect. So that's kind of like what I did last week, and it was super, super rich for me. So like I'm just a generator, but like if you're a generator or you're a manifesting generator, like just paying attention to frustration, that's a not self theme. If you're a manifester, it can be anger. If you're a projector, it can be bitterness. Like recognizing when you're in your not self, and again, just pause and consider what is causing this energy within me. So like for me, asking, okay, first of all, acknowledging, okay, I'm frustrated. Why am I frustrated? How can I redirect my energy away from frustration back towards satisfaction? But just like observing your not self theme. For me, like personally, when I'm in my not self, it's always because I'm forcing myself to do something I don't have energy for. And I think that's typically the case for your not self. So just if you want to work with human design, I recommend it's simple, but it yields very good results, is coming to recognize when you're in your not self. Like if you're a projector and you're feeling bitter, you need to pause and ask, what can I do in this moment that will help me get back in touch with the energy of success? And then go do that. And then maybe later you'll be able to come back to the other thing and not feel bitter. You guys, the battery's gonna die. Okay, maybe I can finish. So regarding in whole sign houses, your north node and south node by house, I find it very valuable to set a brief intention each morning that pertains to the house of the South Node and the house of the North Node. So for me, like my North Node houses are, is 7th house, and then my South Node is 1st house. So at the beginning of every day, I make just a brief intention. What is my intention for myself personally today? What is my intention for others? So no matter what your North Node is, like for example, like let's say it's 5th house, 11th house. So you could, in the morning, you could say, what do I intend to do today to nurture my own creations, for example, versus like, what can I do today to support my community or friends? Like, so just if you're, again, looking for something to do that's going to help your soul's journey, an intention that pertains each day that you will complete for your South Node house and your North Node house, I've found that to be extremely rich. I wanted to say something about the mission of a psychic. The mission of the psychic is to be a messenger for the spirit world. That's just something I've been reflecting on. And it's sort of like what it would have been to be a journalist or a reporter. That field has gone in a new way. It's become more entertainment. But like the true core essence of like being a reporter, being a messenger or a translator. There used to be people that, now it's like all AI, but there used to be people that would translate languages. Like translate Chinese to Japanese or like things like that. It's kind of like that. But it is to be a messenger. That's what it is, you know. I always say I work for the guides. I do. And it's the greatest work that I could ever imagine. I work for the guides. I'm here to give you their messages. Speaking of which, it's important for you to know that the guides are never upset with you. The guides are never upset with us. They're proud of us for trying. They understand that earth conditions are difficult. They understand that struggle is often a part of learning. And at the end of all of it, like, they're there to hold you and recharge you. And yeah, I just want to say they get it. They get you. Like, if you think of the greatest you've ever been understood on earth by anyone, maybe it's a family member, it's a friend, your guide understands you a million, billion, zillion times more than that. They get it, okay? They're always just trying to help us have the experiences, right? In the hallway, right? Everything leads back to the main hallway. The experiences that we came here to experience, always leading us back to the path. Often they see us struggling with the same patterns over and over again. They're often trying to show us a new way to get to what it is that we intend. They're endlessly patient and they have so many ways. They have so many ways. They also know our readiness and they recognize when we're too close to the problem that we can't see any other ways around. They recognize when there's too much on our plate in our life and we're not in a place to be able to learn or take a step forward in the soul's intention because we're just living or surviving. They have a bird's eye view and they see the life. I need to make a whole video about the guides. But just to say, some people get like mad at the guides or they think the guides are mad at us or judging us. They're not. They're guiding us. They're on the same team as you. And they want you to succeed and they know you will, and they're not giving up on you ever. They will never give up on you. They are never punishing you. Sometimes they step back because they see you need to just play out something, like you're not going to give up on a certain path until you tried it a million times and it didn't work out, and that's okay. And when you're ready to give up on that and try a different way of getting there, then they're there. And then they bring in the helpers, or they bring in the message, or they bring, you know, they bring in the new perspective and stuff like that. But they love you more than you could ever imagine. And they are proud. The guides are proud. Are we really still here? One other thing. I'm thinking of taking those names of people who entered the drawing to win and maybe just pulling a name at the end of each video, and for whoever's name comes out, maybe doing a card of tarot guidance for you. Just a simple tarot message, but maybe that would help you. What do you guys think? If you like that idea, please put it in the comments below. I'm amazed that we're still recording. Thank you, angels. Oh my gosh, have a great week. It's been a joy to connect with you today. Many blessings and namaste.